Welcome to the first workshop of the semester, guys! Woo! We ready to get started? All right, I'm not going to expect an answer to that. I have a little QR code right here. Or check in if y'all could please scan that QR code just so I know who all is here. So just to let y'all know, the plan for today, we're doing a character design for animation workshop. So I'm gonna have a really short presentation here. I'm just gonna run over. How many of y'all have taken Intro to 2D or like any sort of animation class before? Okay, 2 people. Okay, so I'm gonna go over basically what you would be learning in that class. I'm gonna go over a little bit of what I've learned just by being a character designer, and then we're gonna do a demo. I'm gonna pull up my drawing software, pull up my drawing tablet. Y'all can pull up your drawing softwares, your drawing tablets. If anybody wants to, you can coach me on how to make an abomination. Just literally yell out anything. Don't raise your hand, don't do nothing. Just when you see me open Photoshop, just yell fins and I've got to do it.
The accurate angel.
No. Oh god, I can't draw wings. Please, not that. Okay. Everyone good on the check-in?
Yes.
All right. I'll take that as a yes. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all of my images are broken. But I just want to start this by saying I'm going to be doing this workshop mostly for 2D animation, so rigged, hand-drawn, that kind of thing. You're going to have different considerations depending on what medium you're using. If you're going to be doing something in 3D, you make a 3D model once, you make a rig, you can pose it however the heck you want. There's going to be some systems that you can implement. I'm not a 3D animator, but it does make making highly detailed characters very, very easy. With hand-drawn 2D animation, you can't have as much detail because you got to draw that character a million times over, and we already have enough carpal tunnel as it is, so we can't be doing that. As opposed to if I had to draw a Genshin Impact character from memory right now, I could not. And then there's also rigged 2D animation, which if you ever take Intro to 2D, they do a lot of that. It's when you take a 2D drawing, you cut it up, you basically turn it into a rig the same way you would a 3D model, and you can move it around. It's a puppet. Thank you, Hallie. It's literally just a puppet. So with those kinds of things, that's a lot of what I like doing. You can have a lot more detail in there, but also you don't want to have a bunch of little design elements. You don't want to add a bunch of earrings. You don't want to add a bunch of flowy clothes, like the kind of thing I'm wearing right now, because you have to animate it. That character's standing, their hair's blowing dramatically in the breeze. You got to animate the earring. It's a whole thing. I've made my characters and I'll have to animate the earrings, and sorry, I'm going off on a rant. Anyways, so the 4 things I'd like to say to keep in mind when you're making a character for animation. The first thing, number 1, you're going to hear this from everybody, silhouette. If you took your character right now, if you took that character design, any of you guys have OCs? Any of you have character designs you've made? OC representation, I love it. If you took that OC's character design, on their model sheet or on your latest drawing of them getting tortured, whatever, if you took that character and you filled in their entire drawing with black, just the space around them, if you are able to identify that character just by that black silhouette, that's a strong character design. You're also, if you're doing this for 2D, I kind of touched on this earlier, you're going to want to have a limited design. You don't want to have too many elements. You want things to be made out of shapes that are easy to redraw over and over and over and over again, because that's what you're going to have to do. So, once again, don't make a Genshin Impact character if you're doing a hand-drawn Disney princess film. And that's because bullet point number 3 there, you want it to be easy to reproduce. And number 4, if you're making a character for an animated TV show, for a comic, for anything like that, you want them to be easy to identify immediately. Now that can be because of their color palette. If I took Homer Simpson and I just turned him into a color palette, do you guys think you'd be able to identify Homer Simpson from his color palette alone? Yeah, exactly, you're all nodding. So your character, when you reduce them to their color palette, you should be able to identify which character of yours that is, just by their color palette. just by the shapes that make them up, just by like, oh, this character has a little sprout on their head. I can see that in the silhouette. It should be easy to identify, because that means it's easy to market, and that means it's easy to sell. Which, hate to bring into the discussion of art, but if you're going into the industry, that's what it's going to be. All right, so shape language is a big one. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but the shapes you make your characters out of can really kind of define to an audience what kind of character that is. This artist right here, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's got his @ in the corner right here of the image that I ripped off of Pinterest. He's on Instagram under that same handle, and he has a bunch of good tutorials like this. But if you're making your character, typically circles, that character is going to be softer, they're going to be friendlier. Look at the 1 pixel ref sheet of the Aladdin characters. I don't know if you could tell they were the Aladdin characters. If you could, then my point stands. Having strong shapes, having strong silhouettes, you could recognize them even from this 3 pixel image. So, like the Sultan, he's very round, he's very squishy. He's a friendly little guy. That pig up there, he's round, he's squishy, he's friendly. The square, strong, the triangle, dangerous. You see that a lot, but you can also do the reverse. Anyone here seen Dungeon Meshi? Okay, my Dungeon Meshi lovers. The main characters of that show are like Laios, Marcel, Chilchuck, and those characters, Laios is he's like a human fighter, like a D&D human fighter. He's very blocky, which you would normally think, oh, he's a strong guy, he's dependable, he's serious. If you've ever seen the show, Laios is the most unserious person ever. There's a character, Chilchuck. He's a little halfling. He's got a very round face. He's got like a very soft design. He's a middle-aged, divorced father of 3. You can use these expectations to throw your audience for a loop. A lot of people love the Dungeon Meshi character designs for that reason, because they're very subversive. You don't have to follow these rules, but it's good to know them. Now, it's demo time. I won't be like teaching you like this is the classroom anymore. I am not a teacher, I promise. All right, so I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna run through and basically do what I would do if I was trying to design a character for, let's say, a 2D animated kids show. We'll call it that. A good thing you want to think about when you're designing a character is what you are designing them for. So the kind of character that I'm going to be designing for a horror webcomic series is going to be very different from the kind of character you're going to see on Jake and the Neverland Pirates. You gotta keep that in mind when you're designing a character. Another good thing to keep in mind are a couple things. You want to keep in mind, if you're designing a character, they're going to exist within a story. So you want to keep in mind, what is it about this character's background that has made them who they are? Like, okay, what kind of climate do they live in? If Adobe will let me draw, please. Por favor. Please.
The bottom. Plus sign.
Dude, I'm dying. I've used Photoshop twice, I'm sorry. Okay. So if you're designing a character, you're going to want to keep in mind a couple things. You're going to want to keep in mind, like what kind of climate they're from. This is an airbrush. That is disgusting. Get that out of my sight.
Opacity at 10%.
No!
Your opacity's low.
I see it. Alright.
Yes.
There we go. Finally, I can write everyone's favorite word, climate. Alright. You're going to want to keep in mind their climate. What kind of genre are they in? That's a big one. What's their personality? Hey, maybe touch a personality here. What's their favorite color? You're not always going to be thinking about that. But it can be a nice touch. There's a couple more things. What off the top of my head can I think of? All right. Climate, genre, personality. Favorite color is not the one you want to think of. You know what? Let's just start here because my brain is pea soup. All right. So this is that audience participation I was talking about. What kind of climate does this character live in? Give me something.
Mesa. Desert.
Mesa, desert? Okay. I'm gonna need you guys to fist fight to the death. All right. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. All right, so they live in the mesa or the desert. So they live in a hot climate. There's a lot of sand. They're probably going to want something to cover their eyes. Sunscreen. And they also don't want to be like dying. All right, what kind of genre are they going to be in? I know I said kids' TV show earlier. Overrule me. What genre are they in?
Scary.
Horror? Scary? Scary? Horror? All right. All right, what's their personality? What is the person living in the hot, horrible desert in a horror story? What's their personality going to be like?
Always angry.
Always angry? Okay, I like it. I'm thinking spiky. Okay. Their favorite color? I'm going to choose that one. I'm driving the ship now. Their favorite color is going to be... No, it wouldn't be orange. They've never seen green in their life. All right, their favorite color is red because they're mad. Okay. So I'm making this character for animation purposes. I'm just going to do like a really quick, just quick off the top of my head design. I'm thinking hot, sand. It's like they're living in the mesa, they're living in the desert, they're angry all the time. I'm thinking they're probably going to be really spiky. Maybe something to cover their face.
Let's all make
Thinking like the little guy from Journey. Any of you guys ever played Journey?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Cool. I haven't. My friend has though. He's obsessed with it. Okay. So he's a little guy. He's just a little dude. Ignore the fact that I'm ripping off a very popular video game. All right. We are making a D&D character. All right, he's in a horror story. You know what? I'm gonna make him spooky. Maybe he's the monster. I don't know.
horror story characters.
How do we make the desert scary?
How do you make the desert scary?
Scary. Not as scary.
All right.
Monsters themselves don't have to be scary.
Oh, there's a cute little guy here. I'm just making a cute little guy.
Yeah, scared.
He's a skeleton. I don't know how to draw skeletons. Don't judge me. Okay. Have I played Deltarune? What? What about Deltarune? I've played up to chapter 3, and I need to replay chapter 3 because I skipped half of it. Alright, so I'm thinking this is like maybe a big cloak. It's kind of ripped open, spiky. There's like a teeth, there's a maw. Maybe it's kind of ripped up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's a little tattered, maybe it's a little torn. It's full of anger. Give him some eyebrows. It's okay. You're fine, little skeleton. You know what? Maybe it's 3 skeletons in a trench coat. No, that's hard to make.
So far.
Okay.
Wait,
3 skeletons on top of each other.
oh, okay. So
But it's basically
whatever. Okay, fancy.
All right.
I was gonna say.
it's a cool bad.
Got my first iteration of this little guy. He's horrible. I love him. All right.
I love him.
Fine,
I love
thanks.
the way, like, the cloak thing, the way, like, it looks almost like a maw. Like,
Yeah, thank you.
his
So
little legs.
maybe I'm developing him like
I
how.
imagine. Okay, I'm looking at the cloak, and I'm just like, what if that's like a living cloak?
A living cloak. Ooh, okay. I can see it.
So these two, like, they team up to like tackle the desert or wherever they're in.
Okay, there you go. You're thinking like a storyteller. You can pitch that to a producer or make $1 million or 3, depending on your contract. All right, there we go. How's this guy look in the desert? He like looms over lost people. Maybe he's really, really big. I don't want to draw his feet.
It's really.
Holiday.
Yes.
I haven't gotten Silk Song yet.
I'm imagining like the cave's like a lot more mysterious. But the skeleton inside is a lot more like honest and aggressive.
Yeah. Like he's just a guy. He's just a dude. Just having a good time.
That's the most random stuff.
All right. So I've got my little concept sketches here. Now let's make this guy animatable. So I'm gonna have to draw him a million times over, right? So when I draw him a million times over, getting those teeth right on that cloak, that's gonna be really interesting. By the way, you guys can follow along, you can make your own characters, you can do whatever you want here. It is totally a-okay. Alright. So there's my little concept sketches up in the corner. Now, if I want to make this guy easy to animate, I'm thinking the parts that are going to be really hard, I'm going to get rid of that little skeleton in there, actually. Just going to give him, maybe just give him like some little dot eyes. Stop giving me pop-ups. Okay, maybe just some little dot eyes. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
It also like has like opportunity to make like really funny expressions depending on.
Yeah. So some non-traditional expressions. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. So I'm gonna animate this little guy. I'm gonna break him down into the main shapes I'm gonna need to draw. This big kind of triangle shape. These little stubby legs. And you want to be thinking, if you've got a character with like a big silhouette like this, you want to be thinking about what they look like underneath that cloak. Because when that character's moving around, you need to know how that cloth is going to move around their body. You don't want to have just some disconnected legs, because that can be a little bit jarring and a little bit weird to look at. I say that because I've done that with a couple of my characters, and then I looked at it later, and it was kind of gross. So if I'm thinking about what this character looks like under here, okay, he's shadowed. Maybe this is a ghost. Maybe this is like the vengeful ghost of the Sand Wastes. Okay. So under there, he's like a really skinny person, maybe. Give him the yowie shoulders. I'll do it.
Right.
Alright. That doesn't look quite right, does it?
Hey. No, you. I wish I had an idea.
Alright. So, drawing a person. I usually start with like just a box, pelvis shape. If any of you have, like, there's going to be something they mention in 2D animation where if you're designing a character, you want to have them designed with floating underpants, because it really tells you where their hip joint is, and it can kind of inform how you're moving their legs around. I'm looking at this guy, I'm thinking, wow, he's really triangular. He's just a little dude. What kind of little dude has pointy little feet? Bugs. Maybe he's a bug under there. Alright, got some mandibles.
Beautiful.
That is so.
It's not an anatomically accurate bug, but that's okay. Alright, maybe he's got a very circular torso. Alright. Those little bug legs. Floating underpants.
Oh, his little floating underpants are so cute.
He's got his little floating
I
underpants.
know. You got little. He's so cute.
Okay. And then maybe like he's got some little front arms here.
God, I love
And then,
I love
alright,
him.
there we go. He's beautiful. He's a little guy. And then I'm just gonna copy him over. Move that little dude,
Yes.
please. Oh yeah. Tease this for 3 seasons.
What does he look like? You'll never know.
Alright. Then let's take this little guy. Just move them up here. And then, all right. Take that cloak I was talking about. That's the wrong tool. All right, so back to that triangular cloak shape. It's kind of draped over his face a little bit. And then, okay, so we've got that triangle that I was talking about. We've got that triangle. That's one big shape. We've got these two little legs here. Just gonna highlight them in red. All right, so we've got the triangle shape, we've got the little leg shape. Now I'm thinking, okay, want it to be kind of jagged. I don't want to animate, I think, more than 3 partitions. So let's go 1 triangle, 2 triangle, 3, just a little one right there. Then the maw is going to be next. Give it like a big oval right here. 1, 2, 3 teeth on the bottom. 1, 2, 3 teeth on the top. Okay. You always want to be thinking about how you can simplify the design just to make it easier to draw. This is a little bit of a mess, so I'm gonna go over, refine him a little bit. But you always want to be thinking about how you can make this easier on yourself to draw. I can actually... So, something that I've noticed in my own character designs, just in my own personal work, when you are redrawing that, when you have your OC, when you have your character, and that's a character you draw a lot of times the first time you draw them, it's going to look really different from the most recent time you draw them, if they're like kind of an ongoing character. And that's because as you draw them, there's parts of their design that you'll forget. There's parts of their design that you're like not going to acknowledge anymore. And that really tells you, if you have the time to do that, that really tells you what is important to making that character recognizable and what is important to keeping on that character. After I finish our little guy here, I am actually going to pull up one of my characters, one of my beloved OCs, and I'm just going to show you guys an example of how they started and how they're going. All right, so I've got my little guy right here. Got my little dude. It's giving Journey ripoff, but that's okay. We love him. All right, and we've got that little kind of face shadow, some red eyes in there, and then maybe the texture of this thing has got like a couple little nicks on it. And you don't have to do that illustrated how I would do that personally if I were drawing. I'd just give his cloak a gradient, because the gradient, if you're animating in Toon Boom, which is the industry standard, it can do that automatically. And a lot of animation programs can add a gradient in there automatically as long as you define the space. So gradients are usually okay. Shading is okay. And you can add details. This guy is very overly simple. But you can add details to a character. Like if you want to give them a shirt, if you want to give them maybe they have a cool vest. Just simplify that vest down to its basic components. Make sure you can draw those components over and over again and have them look the same. And that's how you know it's good.
But what do we want to name?
What do we want to name him, actually? If anybody has any name suggestions, I am happy to take them. Steve from accounting? I love it. Incredible. Steve from accounting. Grimble? Okay. Steve from accounting is his legal name. Grimble is his chosen name. So Grimble is the name he goes by in his profession, which is scaring travelers in the sand wastes. So we're gonna do that iteration segment. First things first, I'm gonna show you one of my OCs. I'm gonna show you the first drawings I did of them and their current ref sheet. And then I'm going to have Ashley, my lovely VP, come up and show you her iteration process, which is very, very thorough, and see how she got some. Okay, my OC is going to come first because he's literally so yes. All right. So these were the first couple drawings of this OC. He's fine. But the main things that I was trying to keep in mind, and this was a character that I was already designing for the purposes of I wanted to be able to draw him over and over and over because I designed him in the middle of an art block and I needed something easy to draw. So, if you look at this guy, he's very boxy. Like, hang on, let me draw on this, please. That's not supposed to happen. Okay, there we go. All right, so he's very boxy if you look at him. He's like all boxes. His face is a box, his shirt is a box. Shorts, box. Legs, box. Sleeve, that's a triangle. But
It's cut in half box.
yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. The hair, also very boxy if you look at it. I literally just draw this in by doing boxes. So this is a character that was meant to be very reproducible. His most recent design looks pretty similar, but there are some differences. So if you'll notice, his face got even more square. It's just, there we go. 5 lines. It's even more square. It's less pointy than his original design. His eyes are squares. Hair is still squares, body is still squares, but if you'll notice that original design, he had tattoos in that original design. I forgot to draw them, which means that they have to go. If you forget to draw it, like, every single time that you draw this character, after the first time you draw them with that element, in all likelihood, you don't need that element. You can get rid of it. It's just something extra that you have to do. Don't worry about it. There's more recent drawings of him in which I do not draw him with Crocs. The Crocs are very blocky. I don't know how to draw Crocs, so it's a lot easier to just draw him barefoot. Because he's always having a bad time. I love this guy. But yeah, you can see he's still very blocky. Literally, all of him is built of blocks, his head, his hair, everything. But some of those design elements that went away were like the tattoos. He had a lip piercing in that, he had a lip ring in that original one, and it got replaced with a lip piercing because it was easier to remember. And that's kind of like just very basic demonstration of like natural iteration on a character. Now we're gonna take a look at Ashley's character, which is extremely thoroughly iterated. Please tell me my cursor did not get eaten. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Hello. So if you guys are like me, you hate iterating on character designs. Typically, whatever I draw first in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's good. I'll just stick with that. So this was my first character design for this character. Bus is out on a plane ride. I'm like, yeah, she looks great. I'm going to stick with this for my final. But then I forced myself to go through the iterative process, and I'm so glad that I did. So I'm just going to kind of hit on some of the points we talked about in the workshop today. I'm not sure how to use this. No. How do I use this?
Just.
Oh, it's over. Okay, got you.
Gotta look at the screen.
Perfect.
Use it on this.
Okay, so first I kind of wanted to figure out the shape language for the character because I had an idea of how I wanted her to fit into the piece of animation I was working on, but I wanted to lean into the shapes and giving her a more recognizable design. So you can see the one on the left was most similar to the design I just showed you, but as I did more and more shapes, I'm like, actually I kind of like the stronger hip silhouette with the triangle off to the side, and you can see each time I'm pulling from, I like this, I'm going to experiment with this more. So you see some things that kind of make it the whole way through, like the triangular shoulders, and you see some things I add, like you can see in the fourth one, I added the kind of isosceles scalene triangle to represent her hips and her skirt. From there, I kind of experimented with a few more designs just to figure out the style that I wanted to do. You can see the one in the middle there. I'm like, I really like the aesthetic of the character. I like kind of the 80s vibe to her clothing I almost gave, but I'm like, that is not something I can easily reproduce for animation. So I ended up landing on this one to the right over here, which you can see is much stronger shape language and is more easily reproducible. And then values. This is so important, is to put your character in grayscale because of the character. You want the character to have strong contrast so that all the colors kind of stand out from each other easily. It helps the color feel more recognizable, and also helps the maybe feel a little more less jarring. Like the white that I used for the shirt on the left kind of stood out too much. I ended up landing on a slightly more gray shirt with lighter accents in my final value composition. And then from there, you can use a really nifty feature that most drawing softwares have, is you can choose a color, you can set it to go inside the layer you're working with, and then you can set it to the color setting. So automatically, if you put this into grayscale, all of these will look like the image on the left. But I played with the actual colors I was using. So, like I said before, the first time I did, I'm like, yeah, she looks good. But I forced myself to do a few more, and I'm glad I did, because I really do like the one on the right the most. And then after that, I created a more standardized design for animation, a 3/4, and I experimented with drawing her. These were my very early preliminary sketches, so it's not consistent, but it's a good way to kind of see how well, or how replicable, rather, your design is. Some other instances of this is what I did for Animation Jam last year. I think the biggest one was my first design based on what was in my head. I'm like, I have such a specific squishy vibe I want to do for the character, so I kept messing with the shapes until I landed on the one in the bottom middle right here. And also she has a much stronger silhouette and is more easily identifiable. And then did a couple color comps, and I landed on the one in the orange overalls. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about silhouette real quick. So this was for a project for like a children's Y7 type show I was working on, and the character on the left was my first initial draft based on my style, but then I went and I put a silhouette over her, set her to all black, and I was like, wow, you can't tell where her neck begins, where her shoulders begin. There's very little definition for most parts of her body. So then I went and I'm like, okay, how can I make the silhouette stronger? So I made the ears stick out more, I made the nose stick out a lot further. And then there's lots of fun little subtle things you can do when it comes to character silhouette. Like you can see here, just making the pant cuffs stick out, making the shoe bits stick out more, adding some texture to the pockets, or adding a little fold where the shirt is a very subtle way to make the silhouette of the character a lot stronger. And then this is the most recent drawing of her that I've done. And you can see that it's a lot more animated. You can tell I'm more comfortable drawing her because the shapes are a lot more consistent looking. And then like I was talking about, there's lots of very subtle little details you can do, like folds, adding to the shape of the backpack, just giving her a slightly stronger silhouette. Yeah, any questions from anyone? Wonderful, thank you for listening. Happy drawing.
We love Ashley in this chat.
Love the baggy outfits.
Also, if anybody wants to show off their character designs, please shoot me, even if it's just a work in progress. If you want, you can shoot me an image of that in Discord. I can put it up on the screen here. You can talk about it, or you can let me talk about it and sit in silence. Either one is okay.